Hello and welcome. Oh, yeah. It's probably a little bit too much come and see, but boy, do we have an episode for you tonight. We have episode 7 of The Chosen, and I am so glad that you can join me. Episode 7 of season 2. Spoiler warning right here. We've got Jeff Bezos, Little Caesars guy, and Jesus all in the same episode. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna dive into it. So Jeff Bezos, by that I mean Quintus, because that is who he kind of reminds me of, and the other guy, I don't really know his name, but he's kind of all the secretive, and he's Caesar's spy, and he reminds me of Little Caesar's guy. And then of course Jesus. But this really makes for an interesting episode. It was funny. I highly recommend watching it. But I wanted to share one thing that God taught me through this episode, and really more this time, it was one thing that God reminded me. And the one thing that God reminded me is, as he's been constantly reminding me lately during the Summer of Reliance that I'm doing, which if you don't know and this is your first time watching with me, thank you so much for joining. You're welcome to subscribe and like and all of that. But if not, hey, no worries. But if you've been keeping up with me, I've been really using this summer, and really this whole past year, but this summer especially, to rely on God. And that is one message that I got and I was reminded from in this episode. Whenever Mary and all of the other disciples are trying to figure out whether or not they should go and break Jesus out of jail or what in the world they should do, Mary says to the disciples, and she apologizes for when she left back a few episodes ago, but she apologizes for relying on only what she could see. And I feel like we do this so often. This kind of seemed to be like a constant theme of the episode. The many people, or at least some of the people who made mistakes, they relied on only what they could see. They relied on only what made sense. Whenever Jesus saw the whole picture, if you come at the beginning, you've got the Sons of Thunder and they're playing a game and they win, they win, and so therefore they don't have to go fishing. But Jesus had kind of sent all the Sons of Thunder, the storm, away from wherever the Romans had come. Like he sent Andrew and Peter, and James and John. But James and John came back because they were the Sons of Thunder. But he had sent them all away because he knew that the Romans were coming. And I just thought that was a really cool little detail. But all of this kind of intertwines into this web of relying on sight, or relying on what we think we want rather than obeying Jesus and trusting in him and trusting in his will, which sometimes, honestly, may not make sense. But one of my favorite things that someone has ever told me was the path of faith itself may not always be clear, but the path of faith you should take will be. And I say that, I hope that makes sense, but you may not be able to see like the entire path. Like you may not be able to see the end or barely even be able to see the beginning, but you will know that that's the path you need to take because that is where God has led you. And if you don't know about God, or if you're just watching this just to watch it, that's awesome. But one of the ways that we can rely on God and truly have that relationship with him and not just know of him, but know him is through his word and through prayer. And that's another really cool thing that I found in the episode was whenever Jesus was teaching his disciples to pray. And I was actually reading that this morning, and I put beside it acknowledging God's will and just acknowledging who he is. Those are some key aspects whenever it comes to knowing and having a relationship with God. And actually, I wasn't planning to show this, but I will. There we go. So this is, I hope there's not that much of glare, but this is a painting of Jesus that I got whenever I was at the Chosen event. But I show that because if you look at Jesus, he's got a backpack on and he's ready. And it's actually Jonathan Rumi as Jesus, but the painter painted it and the Chosen shared it, but it's like he's ready to go. And I want to ask you this question. Are you ready to go where Jesus is leading you? And because I know there's a lot of first-time viewers with me right now, I'm going to share this verse with you that God has really been pointing out to me lately. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. This whole episode really highlighted this verse again for me. Trusting in God, not relying on our own understanding, but in all of our ways, acknowledging him, and he shall direct our paths. The disciples who waited, they waited. And Jesus, he came back. They trusted in him. But if you look at Andrew and Philip went with Andrew because he didn't want him to be alone, but they went in the city and they're still there. But I guess we'll find out in episode 8 what happens for Sermon on the Mount. I'm looking forward to it, but I do want to take a moment and I want to pray for you and for the chosen. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for this opportunity to come together with this individual, Lord, my friend that is joining me tonight, Lord, or whenever it is that they're watching. But Lord, I pray that if they do not know you, Lord, on a personal level, if they're not relying on you, if you're not the cornerstone of their life, Lord, I pray that you would be. Lord, I thank you for that opportunity. Lord, thank you that you have given us that invitation, Lord, and that all we have to do is be willing to accept it, Lord. You didn't send us the invitation because we are perfect, Lord, but because we were broken and because we needed it. Lord, thank you for that opportunity to know you, Lord, and to be known by you. I want to pray for the chosen, Lord, and just as people continue to watch it, Lord, and discover it, I pray that people would watch and they would say, wow, it's a good show, but Lord, that would not be the end of it, that it would inspire them to dig into your word and to become closer to you. I pray that this would just be another tool to bring others closer to you. I want to pray for Dallas and the rest of his team, Lord, that you give them strength and wisdom and guidance. Lord, thank you for this opportunity. In your holy name, amen. All right, guys, that's all from me. I'll see you guys next time. If you want to, you're welcome to share this, but I definitely want to encourage you to continue to pray. I'll see you guys next time. Adios.